Welcome back to another ADSR and massive synth tutorial. If you haven't gotten subscribed to our YouTube channel, you can at youtube.com/ADSR tuts. Today I'm going to go over some tips and tricks on how to beef up your plucks. Basically, do a few modulations, mess with the envelope, and some creative effects. You can kind of make your plucks snappier and crispier, which will help make them sit in your mixes better. So I already have a pretty simple sound pulled up just because the focus of this tutorial isn't on the sound that we're making, it's on the ideas that we're using to make the pluck have some percussive attack, which will make it snappier, EQ and effects, which will make it a little bit crispier and sit up better on the top end, and then some effects like the hard clipper and things like that. So let me clear this out real quick. So this is the sound that we have. It's basically, as you can see in oscillator 1, I've pulled up the melomantic waveform, and I have the wavetable intensity around 45 to 50% on both of them. I detuned it to -12, and then I have the I pulled up, let's just pull up square saw 1 here for this. I have the wavetable position all the way up, so it's a saw, and I have the intensity just over 50% and the amp maybe at about 80%, and I detuned it to -0.7. And oscillator 3 is turned off, don't worry about that. Modulation's turned off, we're not using that. And we have in filter 1 just a simple low pass, and what I did was I created a macro for that, and I named it cutoff. And so if we have this all the way down, you hear very little sound. And now we have our filter all the way open. So that's the real simple sound that we have. And it's pretty boring. Nothing that you'd really use as a oh, sorry, I had the DAF filter on. We're going to turn that off for this. So here's the sound. We're going to turn that into a crispy and snappy pluck. Let's get started on what we're going to do. So first we're going to go to the first envelope, drag the attack all the way down, keep the level up. We're going to drag the decay down pretty far and drag the level down. And what we're using this for is we're going to modulate the pitch of our oscillators. So let's drag the one that we tuned down to -12. Let's drag it all the way up to around to +24. And to exaggerate the effect that this creates, it's good for creating lasers too. But if you turn down the level all the way down, and then get the decay amount just right, let's take it all the way up to 48. There's with it on. There's with it off. You can hear at the beginning there's that little snap. It's basically the pitch is shooting up real quick. Let's do that to our oscillator 2, and we're going to drag this one down to -12. Now let's go over to our fourth envelope, and we're going to drag the level down just a little bit and drag the decay in just a little. That's good for now. And now that we have those set up, let's modulate our filter 1. And so let's take that, using the macro that's been created, let's take that and drag it down. So now we're starting to get that pluck sound, but still it's pretty small. Let's add some noise, because on pluck sounds you kind of want them sitting above the mix, which is why some synths are better at them than others. Brighter synths, it's kind of easier to make really good plucks. So massives in between. It can be bright, but you gotta do a few things to get your sounds a little bit brighter. So let's grab the white noise. Just grab bright. Now there's some more top end to it. And let's turn on in the FX1 slot, let's turn on some delay and just keep it pretty subtle. So I have the dry wet maybe around 25% and the feedback just under 50, and the left and right ratios are both 1 and 8. So that's the sound. Now let's turn on some reverb to thicken it up a little. So you can see if I turn the envelope modulation 1 on the filter 1 cutoff down, it kind of creates more of a, almost kind of like a brass feel to my ears, which is not what you want to do. But if you play around and you get with just the right amount of, that's helping add some snap to the attack of your note. And then the envelope 4, you can hear, because it has more of a decay, that's adding that little bit to the tail end of the note, which is what will help make it stick out. So now let's go to our first LFO slot and grab the performer and just hit random a couple times. And what you're gonna want is any curve that starts out at the top and kind of dips down. So this one might be cool. Let's drag this into our oscillator 1 and modulate the pitch a little bit. So if I exaggerate this and crank it up, it's basically a crazy LFO. But you hear how if you click on restart, so every time you hit the note, it restarts, which is important for a pluck. It has that pitch going up and then down, and if you use that as a subtle effect on your oscillator to modulate the pitch, it can add even more snap to it. So we're going to do that in both of the oscillators. And when you do this, I find it helpful to detune or uptune the same amount. Otherwise, it can be a little bit too much. I'm going to turn the resonance down just a little. And now for the EQ, you're going to want a little bit of the high shelf boosted, just to kind of get some more top end so it'll sit in your mix a little bit better. And then last thing that I'm going to do is on the insert 1, I'm going to come grab the hard clipper. And the reason I like using the clipper, the hard clipper on the insert effect, is it almost acts as, when you have the cutoff low on a low pass filter, it kind of adds as another filter, but it kind of dirties up the sound a little bit. So what I'll do is you can play around with modulating the dry wet with that percussive envelope we made, and then we can take the 4th envelope to modulate the drive. And now let's take the let's modulate the release of envelope 4 with the envelope 1 that we created to kind of finish up that sound. What we did was we just took 2 simple waveforms using only 2 oscillators to create a pretty snappy pluck. The things you want to remember are to use your envelopes to modulate your pitch and your cutoff frequency to create more of a snap and percussive element to your sound. And here is the final sound once more. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know below, and I'll try to get back to them. And if you want to see some more cool in-depth tutorials on Massive, head over to massivesynth.com. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.